Thank you for joining Cooking with Mark and Oreo again. Today we're going to be making codependent cookies. Right, Oreo? And I promise once you make these cookies, you're never going to want to make any other kind of cookies, right? So the first step we're going to do today is you always want to preheat your oven so that way it's already ready to go once you're done making your batter. So you want to set your oven to 375. So that, because my oven's one of the ovens that take a long time to preheat, but that gives us plenty of time to do our mix. So let's start with our dry ingredients. You can use a smaller bowl for the dry ingredients. I'm starting off with 2 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, unbleached. I already measured it out. And the only other 2 dry ingredients you need is a teaspoon of baking soda, not baking powder, baking soda, and then also a teaspoon of salt. And then you can just take your whisk without using your mixer, and you just want to give it a mix and make sure all the ingredients are mixed together. And that's it for your dry ingredients. So you're going to put that aside for now while you work on your wet ingredients. This is a little more complicated because there's more ingredients involved. First, you're going to take 3/4 cup of granulated sugar, and then 3/4 cup of brown sugar. You can use light or dark. I prefer light brown sugar. And then you also want to do 2 sticks of butter softened. I left this out for a little while, so it's a little on the soft side, and that's how you want it. And then you also want to do 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. If you happen to not have any vanilla extract at home, you could use honey. That's a good alternative too. Something that's just going to add a little sweetness to the mix. And then also you want 2 eggs at room temperature. And now you want to take your electric mixer and you want to mix that until it's really got a smooth finish. Okay, and after you have like a smooth finish, that's when you're going to add the flour. But you want to do it gradually, so you want to do a little bit at a time. So I'm going to say you could do about half, and then you want to mix it in. Because if not, it's going to make it very hard to mix. Then you can stop your mixer and add the rest of the flour and mix it in well. And you can also make this recipe, if you want to make it gluten-free, you can also use almond flour. So if you have anyone that's allergic to celiac, so that's a good alternative as well. And now that your cookie batter is pretty much done, you just want to take like a rubber spatula. You could use a spoon. You just want to make sure that you don't leave any behind on the blades. Because that stuff is so amazing. You just want to keep all that in there. And then you can release the blades. And now for the fun part. Keep your spatula handy. We're going to add our candy. This is what makes the cookies so friggin' amazing. You're going to start off with 1/2 cup of butterscotch, 1/2 cup of toffee, which I like to use Heath bar. That's like my favorite kind of toffee to use. Then 1/2 cup of white chocolate chips. And 1/2 cup of crushed walnuts. You're probably thinking to yourself right now, that's a lot of stuff to go in cookies, but we're not even done. 1.5 cups of chocolate chips. And I use Ghirardelli because why not? Put that in there. So you're saying to yourself that's a lot of candy, but when you take a bite, you're gonna be like, every piece of candy, nuts, is so worth it. And now you want to use the rubber spatula because you don't want to break up the chocolate. So the rubber spatula actually works the best to mix the chocolate into the batter. And make sure you dig deep into the bowl just to make sure everything has an even amount of candy and nuts. Your beautiful batter's all set. It's time to get the cookie sheets ready to go in the oven. It looks like oven's getting close to being preheated. So you want to do like a tablespoon worth of batter because you don't want the cookies too big because then when they bake, they're all going to just turn into one jumbo cookie. I've seen that before from experience. So I tend to use my teaspoon scooper, but I usually have another spoon handy just because it kind of gets a little bit messy. So we got about a little tablespoon of batter. And you're gonna put it like in, and you can leave it in rounded balls on your cookie sheet. How amazing do those look? And I tend to put about 6 per cookie sheet, just again, because I don't want them all to turn into one big cookie. And there you go, that's what your first batters. And my oven's big enough I can do 2 at a time, but you want them on the same rack of the oven so they cook evenly. And don't tell anyone, this cookie dough raw is amazing. Shouldn't really eat raw cookie dough, but I'll be licking my fingers later. And again, there's no exact science. Some cookies will be bigger than others. I'll just recommend keeping the bigger ones for yourself. All right, so the batch that we just made, as you can see, there's still a lot left. You'll get between 36 and 48 cookies, depending on how big you make them. Like I did a tablespoon, you could make them even smaller. But again, you'll get around 36 to 48 cookies. So the first batch to go in the oven is almost ready. You're gonna cook them for 10 minutes. So let's get these ready to go in the oven. All right, since our first batch is ready, we can pop those in the oven. And again, it's at 375, the oven's preheated. Actually, let me get the other one so we're a little closer. I don't want to open the oven twice. So 375 on the top rack. And you want to do it for 10 minutes, so I'm going to set a timer. Hey Siri, set a timer for 10 minutes.
Okay, 10 minutes and counting.
You gotta love that. I'll show you what the first batch looks like, and then we can make some more. And again, if you were curious, I said they were the most ultimate, amazing cookies. I have named these the codependent cookies because once you have one, you're gonna be so addicted, you're gonna wanna have more. You know what time that is. Timer's done. So it's time to take our first batch of cookies. And I can't promise I wasn't eating some raw cookie dough while I was waiting for these to cook, because they were smelling so amazing. And there's our first batch. And there you go. So I'm gonna take these off to cool, so that way I can get the other batch ready to go in the oven. So I'll see you back here when we're finished with all the cookies. Hi everyone, last batch is done. And we can shut off the oven. A little smoky because of the wax paper, but don't worry, it's not burned. Voila, the last batch of cookies. Now you want to let that cool for about 2 minutes before you remove them from the pan. But this is what we have so far of cooled cookies. Does that not look amazing or what? And like I said earlier, you'll get between 36 to 48 cookies. I think altogether I got 42 cookies. So my numbers weren't too far off. And just so you can kind of see, look at how wonderful and gooey that is. So I'm gonna enjoy eating these. I hope you enjoy the recipe. Check out Cooking with Mark and Oreo during our next episode for some more great, delicious recipes. Thank you. See you later. Say bye, Oreo.